explain why in a second. I'm just letting everybody know that we're here. There's Alex, but no, there's not Alex. I'm confused. Okay, fine. All right, was Will in this group? I want to make sure that we get Will too. All right, so while we're waiting, anybody have any questions or thoughts? And Alex, I hope you can hear me and reset your connection. It says your connection's not there. Just tell Alex to reconnect because that seems to happen a lot wherever he's at. Okay. All right. So, Glenn, I guess right now you're the only one connected. Hopefully everybody else rejoins. So what this is all about is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 11:30. And next week I might have to do it like in the car or something because I'll be driving back from a conference. But this is kind of like, and Glenn, you and I need to have a whole separate training about, just so your orientation shit. Did you move your license over?
Did I move it over?
Did you tell the state you're moving it over?
Not yet. I'll do that.
Okay, and did you sign the contracts?
I didn't send them over yet, but yeah, I signed them.
Okay, all right. So yeah, we need to get all that back. And just to walk everybody through, because I had this conversation, Nair caught a great opportunity, and he's been fighting a long time with this particular fish to come to conclusion. And Nair, if you're listening, I don't see you on the list, but maybe you're in YouTube world. I think I sent you, but I'll do it while we're on this call. The response to this guy. So there's a gentleman so Nair found a seller of a property in Ohio. I forget if it's Cleveland or Cincinnati. 15-unit building, shit condition, plywood for doors, drywall screw gun to get in and out of the building, that kind of level of a thing. And the seller is very sophisticated, clearly has the money he doesn't need this building. This means nothing to him. He could fly up here with a crew and do the work. Like, he's definitely a guy with means. This is not a desperation sale. And for whatever reason, he doesn't just want to give it to a broker, which is always a scary thing when someone that sophisticated, also who's fairly picky about his compensation structure and what he makes on it, doesn't just want to go traditional. So there's some questions there. We sent him our standard, we negotiated on the phone. We did the research. So guys, the process never changes. And I'm going to take you through what that process is now. The first part of the process, and let me just make sure I'm opening the right thing here. Team. No, tools. Wait, tools. Okay, why is it? Oh, sorry, it's under this email account. And Glenn, I'll email this to you because everybody else has this one. But so this is sort of our go-to page. And we have a seller form that is all the questions. Now, you are not and again, guys, I'll do this quickly. Glenn, I'll send you where you can watch the long form of this. But when you get a seller on the phone, a residential seller, your scripts are here, your main script, your questions, voicemail scripts, they're all linked in here. You're not following these in order. Glenn, you've been an agent long enough, you can't just question one is this. No, you got to go with the flow of the conversation, especially in the off-market world. Their story, their whining, I like to call it, is what matters. how did they get in such a situation they're willing to sacrifice the price of the property? So Nair filled out this form, lots of questions, and in frankly, no particular order. You're not doing this live. You're going through them, taking notes, and then filling out the form because you'll blow your brain up trying to have a human conversation and do a stupid form. But anyway, you're doing Google and the long form videos. So anyway, this gentleman, we sent him, we talked on the phone. We did this research. We came up with our ideas. We talked on the phone. It's a 15-unit building, so the math is very different. Talked on the phone with the seller. We came to an agreement. We sent him a contract. He sent the contract back, completely bastardized, taking out any protections we have. So we've been playing ping pong with this guy for several weeks in a very professional manner. I don't think the man is trying to be disconsiderate. I think he's just very much looking out for his own position and not really trying to care about our position. So we've been playing ping pong, and Nair finally built enough of a relationship with him that we kind of got to a point where the guy has laid out something that makes kind of sense. So we're going forward with that. Now, what's important, and I had a conversation with Nair about this yesterday, is that the guy also has a couple pieces of land, and I forget where. And Nair went and did the research with our land tool because we have a dedicated land tool, and called the guy up and said, hey, the max allowable offer on your land is $90,000. And I said, well, Nair, I said, that skips a few steps. The first step is you never ran that plan by me and Ryan, who are the ones standing behind it legally. Second of all, if you tell, and this is the difference between the listed world that you're used to, Glenn, and the wholesale world, is in the listed world, you're saying, hey, we can get you somewhere up to this number. I'm taking 6%. In the wholesale world, you're usually saying, hey, you know what? We think we can buy, if we think internally, we decided we can sell it for 90, we're telling him 80. And we're aiming at that 10,000 being our spread. And Nair just called the guy up, which would be a fine choice in a broker conversation. Call the guy up and say, listen, sale prices in that market look like 90 grand. Okay. Problem is, number one, Nair is not a licensed agent, so he shouldn't have that conversation. None of us are licensed in the state where this land is, but also there needs to be a compensation. So when you fill the form out and you collect the information, we then have a conversation with you, me or Ryan and you. In the case of self-storage, it's me or Mark and you. And then we go back to the seller and say, hey, this is where we think we're going to be.
I'm going to take that.
So we have with this multifamily in Ohio with the same seller, the confusion is that because it's plywood over the doors, literally drywall screwed in plywood, not here's a key. Every time we go there, every time we send a buyer there, there has to be a handyman to take the board off, to walk them around, make sure they're safe, and put the board back on when you leave. And make sure no one comes in during the time that you're there, and make sure no one dies while you're walking around this building without power. And that's an expense for us. So we have to write, now that the guy has suggested 6%, which is a reasonable number, okay, 6%, but what are the guardrails? What are our minimums? And what is the maximum we're willing to invest in handy people to do visits? And so we still have to put some guardrails on this conversation. But that's the way the process is supposed to work, is that you collect, you get a seller on the phone, self-storage or otherwise. You collect the information, you get it in the form, and I'm just looking here for the StreamYard because I want to show something. I'm going to let my phone come on board because I want to show a property I was just at. This is the reason I was late today. We decide what to do, and then typically some group of us, either you and Ryan or me and you, call the seller back. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason for that is, hang on, guys. The first reason for that, okay, what do I do? Okay, stop this record. Okay. All right. I've muted this. Okay. All right. It seems like everybody can hear me okay now? All right. So the first reason for this is that we're the ones legally responsible for the contract. So having us in the negotiations is key. The second reason for that is Glenn can, because he's a Pennsylvania licensed agent. Will can, he's a Pennsylvania licensed agent. A lot of you guys aren't Pennsylvania licensed. And if it's units 1, 2, 3, and 4, it has to be a licensee doing the negotiations. We're actually working gray area with you guys who are unlicensed, but I can't have you do substantive real activities. I can have marketing activities. So we're involved in that conversation. Also, unless you have a certain level of experience with these, the sellers will throw resistance, and you don't want to, bluntly, a very experienced, older, meaning mature attorney from Texas. Nair is great, but a attorney from Texas has a lot more experience in negotiations than Nair does. Certainly, also more than I do. There's no question. So we have to bring whatever we can to the table. So anyway, that's how the process should go. Also, tomorrow I'll be here on the call, but then after that I'm going down to Bethlehem to meet with Joe Scarice, and we'll be coming back with a whole new plan for lending. So if you want to be a lending partner, what that means is if Joe's hedge, not that he owns the hedge fund, he's a somebody in the hedge fund. And we get 1 to 1.5%. So $100,000 deal, we get 1,000, and we share that out with you guys. The beautiful thing in lending is there's no sales in it. You say to people, I have money available to lend, and they want money, they will contact you and they will play your game. I can't keep up with this. So your job is the handling of the client. Whether or not they choose to go with our lending company, whether they're qualified to go with our lending company, don't know. But that. So we'll have more information on that. We also have zero interest credit cards for business. Zero interest lines of credit, they call them, but basically they're credit cards. So any questions there? And Alex, I don't know. I keep seeing you, like, you come in and you immediately disconnect. So I'm just going to roll with it, I guess, and text me your questions or something. I'm sure you can hear me at this point. So I'm going to fold my phone in here, and I'm going to show you the video of this house that we just saw. So we literally just got a phone call. Ryan did, and I'm trying to figure out why it's not showing. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. All right, so I'm trying to pull up this video, and otherwise I'll figure out some other way to show it. Hang on. So it just unconnected me from the thing. Anyway, so this call just came in this morning, and I just happened to be near the house. Normally I wouldn't do that. Enter studio. Fine. Set the mute. Fine. Now I want to share my screen. Let's see. Let's exit. All right, apparently I cannot share my screen, so we'll skip that part. Let me remove me from there. Anyway, do not think this is going to be on my photos, but let me just see if it is. Because I just want to show you guys how we evaluate a property. And again, your job for the most part, and Glenn, make sure you connect with Ryan about that Duryea listing. Your job for the most part is, it's not showing up for some reason. Oh yeah, skip it. Okay, we're not doing it. Your job for the most part is to get the seller on the phone. We have data that you can call with. We have batch leads that you can find data to call with. We have batch leads you can use for dialing, or you can call it on your own number. We have a resource just for land. We have a resource just for self-storage. We have self-storage data you can call on. The first thing you're doing is getting a seller on the phone, filling out the form. And that's for every seller you get on the phone that has a substantive, has an informational conversation about property. Actually, any seller you get on the phone, even if they don't want to talk about a property, you still fill out the form, say not interested, and maybe schedule a follow up or something or whatever. We at least get that. Hey, there was a human on the other end of that line, and here's what we found out. Glad to catch you up. There's other videos I can point you to, whatever. But this call came in this morning, and the gentleman wanted 100 grand for a double in Avoca, which is a small town. And I just happened to be not far from it, so I did a drive-by, and I was hoping to show you the video. But I'll walk you through what we learned from it, because in the form, one of the most important things we ask is the condition of the property. And all the guy told us was the roof needs some work, everything works, people are living there, and it's got wood siding. So, all right, we got no pictures yet. We hope to get pictures soon. As much detail as you can get on that. And that's why you'll see in the questions things like age of major systems. You'll see things like you'll see age of major systems. You'll see let me pull up the questions here. I'll launch this real quick. Condition of kitchen, condition of bathrooms, so on and so forth. And let me make sure that I'm actually sharing this screen because I don't think I am. No, I'm not. Okay, let me share this out. And you go through this, and this is how we determine value. This is the reason Ryan didn't just make an offer to the guy on the phone. Although instinctively we both knew it was a good deal, the process is that we collect this information. And we try to get as much on the property because this is how we determine value. You then will use batch leads or another tool to do comping. And Glenn, I'll point you to the video for that. You then will put all the other questions in the form like Zillow and everything else. And then we'll have a conversation about it and we'll analyze the information. So your job is to collect everything: Google links, Zillow links, Google Maps, da-da-da-da. So when we sit down to look at the property, we know as much about it as possible. We will be bringing a new data tool shortly to the market, which is going to be not a tool for you guys. It's going to be information to you guys, data. That is all AI certified of how many investor deals in the area, whatever. So we're literally picking zip codes in Luzerne County and saying this is a better zip code than that and whatever. It's a very expensive tool. So we're rolling it out. So everything we're trying to do is to give you guys the keys to be the front end of the engine. And Glenn, one of the roles for all of you guys is to be this calling person. And Glenn, I think in your situation, that's great. You sit at home all day calling and getting people on the phone. And as soon as you catch a fish, meaning getting someone on the phone, feel free to dial me and Ryan into the call or schedule it. So we'll walk through the questions with you. You'll hear us do the questions. You'll listen and take notes. Then the next part of it is you will, at some point, a few calls in, you'll be like, hey, let me do the questions. And you're still taking notes. We're just then supervising. And then eventually you can do the calls on your own. don't ever be afraid to call us in, because Ryan and I still, after umpteen God knows how many times, half the time Ryan and I will do these calls together. We can both do them independently, but we very often don't, because it's sometimes better to have two people on the call. I don't really want to be on those front end phone calls, but I will be until you're ready. Ryan's always going to be on the front. He's a specialist. We also did a recording yesterday on the YouTube channel, which I'll show you that right now. That where Ryan and I yesterday did sample calls. We literally, I played seller, he played, I guess us, like a better term. And that would be call test demo with Ryan and Steve, and that's within this YouTube here. You guys can see that, right? So these calls, as bad as my video looks on these, I just did them. But these calls literally walk through actual faked phone calls with the sellers. Anyway, so let me just get back to something here. So basically, that is the job. And Glenn, this is sort of your orientation. I want to take 15, 20 minutes to orient you. That's the most important thing, getting in touch with sellers. We are a very difficult market in this part of northeastern Pennsylvania. Now, you don't have to work here, okay? That's the part I want to be very clear on. Nair is finding success in Ohio. We're fine as long as you're logically approaching. Talk to us about communities before you approach them. Because what we don't want to do, and Shad was doing this for a while, and Shad, we need to reconnect, but you know, the one property would be in Ohio, the next one would be in Texas, the next one would be in Alabama, the next one would be in this, and no. People do that. There are virtual wholesalers that do this. And yes, Glenn, I'm talking about wholesale right now on this one. Thursdays are more brokerage, but I'll cover that with you. But the problem is, in my mind, and I'm not against it if somebody really wants to try it, but if you're a virtual wholesaler and you're taking deals from anywhere, how much market knowledge can you really have? So like, I would rather say, okay, Nair is focusing on Ohio. Great. He's already had one success out there. Looks like this guy with this 15 unit might be a second one. Boom. But if you're like, and the other thing you don't do on the wholesale side, and Glenn and Will as licensees, you can do this, because as licensees, we can go to somebody and say, oh, you're advertising your house for $100,000 on Marketplace or whatever. Okay, great. Well, let us be your agent at 100,000. We take 6%, or we take 3%, and the buyer agent takes 3%. That whole conversation. No problem. An agent can step in with a sale by owner, with a Facebook Marketplace, with a whatever, because we're not trying to make a spread. We're willing to list the house, assuming the numbers work and the comps are correct. We're willing to list the house at what the guy wants. If you're a wholesaler, if they're asking 50 grand and it's worth 50 grand, and 50 grand is what a flipper should buy it for, let's say, or maybe it's not, but whatever. It's out there at 50. We can't put it under contract and bring it back at more than even close to or more than 50, because if the world wasn't buying it when he had it advertised for 50, why are they going to buy it from us for 55 or 60? They won't. So on the wholesale side, if you go after something already advertised, you're probably wasting your time. I've had 3 of those work in the last 7 years. That were just lightning strikes, and it was literally one of those, we signed the contract and said, this will never freaking work. And then we found some buyer stupid enough to buy it. But that was also during the height of COVID stupidity. So if you're looking to wholesale, you should not be looking on Facebook, Zillow. If it's already advertised, keep walking. If you're looking to list, that's then maybe it's worth having that conversation. And the reason that's even still a maybe is we have to realize something else. The world doesn't live by realtors anymore. we don't bring a lot of extra value like we did back in the days before the internet. We don't bring a lot of extra value because once we list something, it's on Zillow. People go to Zillow first. And so however it got on Zillow is irrelevant. Who they're buying it from is irrelevant. So can we bring value, by MLS listing stuff and yada, yada? Absolutely. But the point is, once it's out there, can we really bring value to somebody who's already advertising? The value we can bring is the fact that they never have to deal with the buyers anymore. But so even for those of us who are licensed, and if you're licensed but you're not on the board, or you're licensed and the house isn't up where I'm on the board. So all I'm saying is if it's already advertised, think seriously about it. So you'll also see that we have a buyer form. You can put your buyers in here, and they are registered as your buyers. So somebody buys, you get something. We have an AI dialer, which hope to God I have time to get launched today. We do have a skip trace service. So in addition to lists you may buy, you've got the name of an owner. Beautiful. We have a service that for $1.75 or something, you can skip trace an owner. You may not need that. You already have a list, but if you have somebody, you find a property and you're driving for dollars, you can drive for dollars. You can virtual drive for dollars. Glenn, this also might work, in your situation. Literally satellite flying over a neighborhood, looking for dilapidated property, and then using other tools to find the owner and da da da. We can talk more about that. That works very well also in the self-storage industry, because the beautiful thing about self-storage and mobile home parks is they're very recognizable from the air. Okay, the climate controlled big box self-storage, not so much, but the old style drive up self-storage, very recognizable from the air. You've got long, narrow buildings, a certain set number of feet apart. So they're little strips of buildings with strips of driving between them. That's a self-storage. Mobile home park, very easy to see from the air. And you can sort of hover over and whatever. So driving for dollars, virtual driving for dollars, mailers, postcards, anything like that, we will help you with. We have thousands of postcards. Glenn, since we're close, I could give you the postcards I have. If you really want to go buy stamps and buy labels and stamp and label them, go for it. I'll give you the postcards. I found stamping and labeling to be the most frustrating thing in the world, and I will never do it.
Do you have stickers?
Do I have what?
Stickers?
I mean, stickers. I mean, can I get you some stickers? Sure. But remember, stickers require data to put on the sticker. So what you have to do, the process of taking my postcards, and you don't need the stickers. You can handwrite the address of the recipient on the postcard and stick a stamp on it, or you can buy stickers and print the addresses and go boom, boom, boom. What I found, I didn't so much mind the sticker process, although I will tell you that it killed my printer for a while because a sticker peeled off in the machine and I had to disassemble the damn machine to get to where the label is stuck. But why I will never personally do it again. And I would love you guys to do it because I have thousands of. Now you don't have to mail the postcards. You can also.
Oh, so what I was going to do is for marketing purposes, put my business card and stickers on gas stations and stuff so people can see my card and then give me a call.
Oh, okay. I mean, basically for that, I can certainly send you some stickers, but you're much better off just printing some stickers with your business card on it.
Yeah.
Now, It's funny you mentioned that. I'm glad you brought that up. That was a good call, because what I've also done, did your cards finally come in, by the way?
No, I still didn't get them yet.
All right. I'll call that company again because they insisted they resent them out again. Do me a favor. Text me your correct address again. And I'll call them because they thought they corrected it, but whatever. I want to make sure you get those.
Okay.
But anyway, and please don't let me forget that because it's one of those things that just slides out of my head. But you take cards and you, gas pump's a great example. When you're done pumping or you just walk around town to gas stations, you put them in the slot where the credit card goes. Don't put them in too far. That's a punk move. But you stick them because the one thing you know about them, 99% of them will be thrown away, no doubt. But someone has to touch it. They have to. So they touch it, they might keep it, they might read it, they might throw it away, but someone has to touch it because it's in the way of their credit card. Same thing about driving for dollars or walking a neighborhood. You know, you walk up to a door, you stick. Now, here's the thing. Okay, everyone puts their card or their flyer or their whatever in a mailbox. That's common practice. It's also federally illegal. Not that anyone gives a flying fuck, but technically the mailbox belongs to the Postal Service, even if it was bought by the owner. So I usually just stick it in the door. I'll stick it where the weather stripping goes on the door. But basically, you can go, absolutely. Now, what you can do is you want to have an app like ONX Hunt. I use Regrid. What's the one that Ryan uses? Acres. These are apps on your phone, and they have free versions, they have paid versions. And you can go up to a property and you can touch the property on your phone, and it will show you the lot lines. It'll show you the owner's name, their mailing address, and maybe a PIN number. You can use that information, go to the county courthouse, and, well, you already have their address, but you can go to the county courthouse and find out more about them. You can skip trace them without skip trace service. So if you're going down the street and there's a dilapidated house, a less loved house, honestly, while the snow is still on the ground, this would be a great idea. Go to the houses that haven't been shoveled. Because guess what? There's no shoveling, no footprints. Go for it. Because ain't nobody loving that house right now. Single families with for rent signs, especially faded ones, especially with dirty windows. The only thing you know about an empty single family is that it's losing money. And you use and if you pay for the Regrid and some of the others, it'll give you the owner's phone number. And you can, like with Deal Machine or something, you can even, now Deal Machine's another app if you were to pay for it. That will send a postcard. And the cool thing about Deal Machine's postcards is, first of all, they're one-off. You can send one, you can send 100. But they take a picture of the house and they put it on the postcard. People are like, how'd you get a picture of my house on your postcard? I don't know. I paid too much for the service. I mean, Deal Machine's not that expensive, but it's like $1 a postcard. So anything like that gets you a conversation going with the seller. Your Facebook business page is important. And for those of you who are licensed under my brokerage firm, we better be on your business page. The state law requires. You're an agent of Guerrilla Real Estate. Here's our 798-7051 phone number. The law on that is equally prominent. If you have your phone number in 20-point size, our phone number and name have to be in 20-point size. I don't care. State cares. Will they ever actually bust you for it? In the words of a former broker of mine from EXP, she's like, they will never come after you for that violation. But if you're before Harrisburg for something else, they will add that as a violation. So basically, your Facebook business page, get in the online communities, get in the what's wrong with Scranton, what's wonderful about Pittston. Become a visible member there. Give valuable real estate information in those sections. Any other questions? All right, I'm just going to fly through. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just trying to figure out leads because I'm trying to get some deals. I'm having difficulty. I wanted to get the cards because I wanted like a physical way to do it as well. So I'm always having something marketing. That's why I wanted to, like, the stickers. I want to eventually buy those too. Yeah, I'm just trying to get some deals.
I know. Well, and okay, so on that, now, have you been calling? Have you been making lists and batch leads and calling the list and batch leads?
Yeah, I've called a few. I also called like the real estate bees one, and most of them aren't picking up. So I'm trying to get more volume. I'm trying to figure out a way I can do that so it can actually be more productive.
All right. So well, exactly. And basically, and guys, listen, I mean, there's a reason I don't do cold calling. I would literally rather do it. I mean, I've done it. I hate it. I literally would rather do any other activity than make 100 calls and have 90 people either not answer or not care. It's not usually that bad, but whatever. But but basically in the batch lead software, and I'll just pick on whichever list this happens to be, you can create your own list. I can give you the logins. You see now here has a whole stack of them here. And we have to be honorable within ourselves. Like if you make a list, you put your name on that list, like exactly as he did. Nair multifamily 18. Good. Nobody touched Nair's list. That's Nair's list. Nobody touched that. And then here's a property. Now, a couple things you can do. You can pop the property open. You can see the property, all the details. You can run comps on the property and use the filters and see what the property is worth. But most importantly, you go back to property details. You can dial right from batch leads and call a person right from the software. And it is, you got to have your script in front of you. You got to have some piece of paper or a notepad or something to take your notes on. And you might go through a lot of these before you get that call. So it is a time-consuming, effort-based process. We have the AI data, which just hit yesterday. So I'll be getting that. I'm working out with my partner, my other unrelated partner who co-bought that with me and Ryan. And we're working out exactly how we want to go through it and which towns and whatever. So in the next week or so, probably less than a week, we will have those pushed out. So you guys should start calling them. What's better about those leads is there's two things. First of all, there's been an AI. So April Crossley's a very big wholesaler or a very big investor. She doesn't wholesale anymore, but very big investor and teacher. So she's the one that created these lists, and she's the one that chose this company. And this company ran an AI data layer on top of it. And we will be able to show you we're picking the towns based on how much investor activity in those towns. Okay, so that's kind of, so like this is a better, batch leads is good. This is a lot better. That's why batch leads is $2,500 a year. This is $1,500 a month. Okay, the amount of money that we spend in marketing. That's why the more of this stuff you guys use, the better. But yeah, and we'll as soon as this call's over, we will get you squared away, and we'll call God Print and figure out your cards. And if I have to reorder them, that's fine. I apologize. It just slipped my mind. Please never let me forget something like that. You've been really appreciate it. But it's one of those things I always, I've got postcards sitting and waiting at a postcard company I need to call and pull the trigger on. Yeah. And it's just unfortunately I just forget. So please help me not forget. But anyway, so within this, you can just sit here on batch leads and dial. You can use, and there are videos online. Alex and I had this conversation of how to search for markets in batch leads and how to create lists. I don't train that. Batch leads has great videos. If you need the link, let me know. I will actually make a point to put that link in here. Because you can make a note of it. So let me just make this a bold here so I remember to do it. So this is one of the tools we have. We also have self-storage facilities, and we have self-storage markets across the country. You can literally Google storage places in blanked market. We will tell you what the markets are, and just call. We have a whole different script for that, a whole different conversation. Call. A little bit in mobile homes. Mobile home parks are a new area for us, but same idea. So if you get tired of calling one, you get tired of calling the other, and that's also why we have the lending, because you have less sales in lending. It's not necessarily as lucrative. That's really weird, Alex. You keep coming in and disappearing. I'm not quite sure I understand that, but anyway. And Will, to your point, because you're in Philly, because you're in a relatively dense market, door to door, knock on doors, walk up and down. Another thing, guys, is management companies and landlords. And which brings me back, I'm glad, so it brings me back to batch leads. You can, within batch leads, search cash buyers. And you can bring them on board as buyers. That's wonderful. But if buyers are totally non-monogamous, they will buy from anyone. They will pretty much never swear to be your only whatever. or never swear to make you their only whatever. I have two guys, and I do need help with these two guys, by the way. Glad it's one thing we'll assign to you is because you're from up here, but talk to me about those if you want to talk to those couple buyers I have that are totally semi-monogamous with me. And what we do is you and I 50-50, whatever we do with those deals, because they need to see me. You're doing the work. I'm their face because they don't want to talk to anybody else. But buyers are non-monogamous. However, what you know about a buyer, especially a cash buyer, is they're not emotional about their properties. I'm not emotional about any of my properties. And that means they may want to sell things, or they may want to buy other things, and they may need to trade up, or trade down, or whatever. So finding who the cash buyers are in a market does two things. It gives you buyers to talk to, but also it's, hey, what do you got that you don't like? What do you got you want to get rid of? Whole another conversation. This is a great time of year to go to people. Oh, by the way, obituaries, probate, that universe, bankruptcy. Go meet with bankruptcy attorneys. Again, Will, this is something easy, relatively easy for you because you're in a denser market. Not hard for any of us. Call up your bankruptcy attorneys.
Yeah.
Call up your foreclosure attorneys and your accountants, and set a introduce, set a call, have me on the call. Because those are the guys when people are screwed, someone dies, bankruptcy's coming, they go to them. Okay. We have a postcard specifically for obituaries, for literally what I had planned to do before I discovered I hate postcards. I hate physically doing postcards. Is it's got a cute little tree on the front, like a little 2-season, winter and summer tree or whatever. And it's got some cute little message on the back from my then 3-year-old, now 15-year-old daughter, about life has come, change has come to life. And the whole idea behind it is that when the obituary comes out, we mail to the address, whatever it is, the estate, whatever it is. They stick it on their fridge, and when the crying is done, at some point they come back to, okay, none of us live in mom's house. What the hell do we do? Bandit signs, bandit signs and flyers, another for all of you, everybody. But since you're in a dense market, postcards, flyers, which could also be postcards. I don't care what the flyers are made of. Bandit signs. Bandit signs are those 2x4, 1x3, whatever. Those things you see nailed to telephone poles. That's why they're called bandit signs, because they're not supposed to exist.
I wanted to say I don't really want to do like deals in Philadelphia. I was looking outside the city because I don't like Philadelphia, honestly.
Oh, I don't care. That's wonderful. That's fine. Yeah, no. And but I'm only picking because you were saying physically dropping cards off somewhere.
Oh yeah.
So obviously it's a place we're going to.
I'm driving outside the city.
Okay, yeah. Well, and I appreciate the clarification. Basically, I was saying that you're in a more dense market. If you were in, Oil City, Pennsylvania, there's no more oil in it, and there never was a city. Okay, it's trees, it's cows. So like, someone's not going to do so well walking up and down this. I mean, they might, in terms of people there may be more desperate to sell, but it's not like anywhere you drive in a 30-minute, 40-minute radius is going to be fairly populated, and you'll have a lot of doors you can hit. So, and truthfully, you're actually right. So in the self-storage universe, I'll go from there. In any commercial universe, not that Philadelphia is bad as an investor, it's not, but everyone's looking at Philly. My self-storage mentor actually told us, he's like, you guys cannot afford, meaning talking to this whole group of 500 of us in this training room. He's like, most of you can't afford to compete in a market like Philly because the big companies, U-Haul and blah, 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 are looking there. Like, you guys all belong in the secondary, tertiary, and quad markets, where the big REITs are like, fuck that, I ain't going there. I'm not going where there's 2,000 people in the city. So, yes, you can make money wholesaling in a market like Philly. You can make a crap load of money. I will also tell you, but you're probably right to not stay in the city because the density of population, the density of investors, the attractiveness of being an inner city investor means you're fighting big dogs. Not that we can't compete, and we have buyers. We have buyers galore down that way, that whole southeastern Pennsylvania part. We have a lot of buyers everywhere, but primarily southeastern, southwestern, west central, northwest, and of course northeast. As far as Pennsylvania, oh my God, yes, we can get buyers anywhere. But bandit signs, I don't care. Buy blank pieces of cardstock and nail them up yourself. When you're doing a flyer, when you're doing a bandit sign, realizing no one is looking for your flyer. I go in the supermarket every whatever, and I see these flyers on the bulletin board. And there are probably people who go there to read the bulletin board. There is probably some old person bored enough that that is an activity for their day. Not for me. But I'm going by the bulletin board and I see a flyer facing foreclosure. Call me. Phone number. I just learned everything I needed to know. Tired, at Lowe's, and this is something I should do, but I have not done very often. Park my Jeep down at Lowe's with my tired landlord billboard on my Jeep and just like walk home, leave the Jeep there for a week. Tired landlord, call me. Phone number. Boom. So when you're doing a flyer or a business card, or like you're saying a sticky card, like your business card will, when you get it, may not, we can discuss the design. It may not be the card you want to leave because its message is you're a guerrilla real estate realtor. We designed it to hand out. If you want, we can certainly design you a set of, more flyery cards. I think I might actually have some around. I have to look.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're bad, but if you think about, I think I have one of the sample ones. Oh, and also when you text me your address, I'll overnight you some sample cards.
Okay.
But this is my sample card. I'm going to try to switch screens here so I can show this to you.
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
Basically, broker that gives cash offers, and here's my contact info. Nothing real wrong with that for a let's see if I can pull up a card. Oh no, I dumped it off my hard drive. Crap. Okay, I just cleaned my hard drive out, so I forgot I dumped some of the stuff off. But nothing really wrong with this. And this one actually, I'll send you a bunch of these today because it says right at the top, the realtor who makes cash offers. This is not a bad business card because it gives a simple message right up top. But if you take a standard business card, Will Johnson, phone number, real estate, guerrilla real estate. Is that the message you want that person holding when they hold it? Is it a message for you as a now? Where that is the message is in a market of nicer homes, of homes that might go retail. Ping, 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 ping. So all I'm saying is the medium, when I was in TV class, the medium is the message. That's the old adage. Well, here, all I'm saying is I hate the billboards when I'm driving on the road and I see a billboard and there's like 100 words on it. And they're kind of thin, not really contrasty. Like I'm going 65 miles an hour down the highway. If you think you're getting more than half a second of my time to decide if I want to read you, you're not. So when you're designing your flyers and your things like that, you've got to think, what's my recipient target audience? So I will send you tonight. I'll send you a bunch of these, because they do have until we get your other ones. I'll send you a bunch more of those. But yeah, I mean, and listen, that's what Will is talking about, guys. Is the game? This is a volume game. We had and whatever. And Will, if you want, we can jump on the phone later or something, and let's figure out what, because I know you've been struggling with the volume thing, and I want to kind of understand. But like, I want to understand what else I can do, because right now I've been throwing ideas at you. I want to see what I can do to, help you with the execution. But when it comes time for calling, you got to time block that, and you got to say, I am here for an hour, 2 hours, whatever. I am going to set a goal, and it's got to be a strong goal, but it's got to be a realistic goal of, if you're not dialing 100, you're not doing it. because of that 100, that 100 calls, how many are actually going to answer? And if they don't answer, and I think I've covered this before, if they don't answer, I hate it. Call them right back. Call them call them back once, maybe twice. So 2, total of 3. And then put them on the tickle file. Try them again in a couple days. You leave a voicemail. We have voicemail scripts in the system, which you should. I believe you should always leave a voicemail and or text. We have a very detailed voicemail in the system. Hi, I'm Steve Hunting from Homes. I'm reaching out, blah, 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 blah. Hang on a second, guys. I got to pay somebody. Let me put on mute for a second. Think about whatever questions you have for when I come back. All right. Any questions while I was gone?
Yes, you're pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like the dialer? Like, because I've seen videos of like power dialers where they automatically call, where I could just sit there and just wait for the call to just dial if they don't pick up. And
I mean,
stuff.
we if like we were talking about before, we can certainly upgrade this to a power dialer, or it'll just go dial, 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 dial.
Yeah.
And we can also upgrade it to a multi-line power dialer. That's something else. So if you want to, I have to look into the pricing for it. I'd rather keep it in the batch leads universe, because the problem with these dialing companies is their base fee is $150.
Yeah, I don't want to overextend everything. I was looking at Mojo for like me to personally get, but if actually just good, I'll learn that one anyway. So
yeah, I mean, well, and that's why, like, again, we kind of have batch leads, so. All right, so so Mojo we had Mojo. So there's a couple things. The problem is in this dialer industry, and Ryan and I have run into walls more times than I can count on this dialer industry, because Mojo, I remember actually getting very pissed at them and canceling, because it was like, oh, you got to pay for Mojo dialer, and then they also require you to pay for. It ended up being like $250 base or something. Like, oh yeah, I got this, but now I need that. Now I need that. And I was like, okay, crap. So I want to look into what batch leads has as an upgrade, because I'm paid for batch leads for the year. So if we're upgrading by $50, whether I pay for it or I say to you, hey, listen, kick in the $50.
yeah,
If you really think the power dot, because again, you and I've had this conversation, I've kind of said, well, let's try it the other way first. But if you think we really need the power dialer to get you going, let's have that conversation. Because at the end of the day, guys, the difference here is whether I charge you for it or we take it out of the commission, or we don't, or we split. I don't care. Those are details. Not that I can go infinitely and say, oh, I can spend on everything. I can't. I don't have.
I still buy leads myself anyway. So like stuff like that, I still buy.
Yeah. Well, but remember, within batch, they're already paid for. If you run your list in batch leads, and again, all I'm saying is, like, if you're as dedicated as Will is, I'm happy to say, hey, you know what? I don't care about another $50. If you're willing to make it happen, because at the end of the day, the $50 a month sucks, or whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, if someone's willing to actually dedicate and make it happen, that's great. That's the reason I have things like the Land OS tool. That's the reason I have things like the Tracked IQ. That's the reason we have the lending options, is because if you're willing to do it, we're willing to get the tool. So I will look into what the add-on for if I already have batch leads, what is the add-on for their dialer, again, just because rather than starting over and saying, oh, let's give Mojo $200. Well, batch leads can do the same thing for an extra $50 because we're already paying their base 200. We're already here. And for those of you who don't know, power dialers, basically, instead of doing this model of I click a phone number, power dialers literally go through and they don't bother you, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, until somebody answers. So you'll say, okay, start power dialer, and it'll go, and then it'll light up or whatever it does and say, I got somebody, and immediately connect you. So it saves, this effort. But so we can definitely look into hooking you up, and it has to be Mojo, or there was another one we signed up with too. And I remember, and at the time, we got to understand that Ryan and I never did the actual dialing on these. We hired people, and the people also didn't really work out. So, because what we discovered is we hired call centers, and they're not motivated by sales; they're motivated by hours, dollars per hour. Whereas I'm happy to buy you guys a dialer, or whatever, split it or whatever we do, because, you guys are motivated by sales, basically. Like we were, okay, $250 for the dialer, and then we were, $1,500 a month for the person calling, and nothing came up. And okay, I listened to their calls, they were making calls, but were they really doing everything they could to be as efficient as possible? No, probably not. They were saying, oh, $15 an hour, I can just do this. Now, so anyway, okay, so two things. Well, we got to do get your business cards squared away. Three things. I got to mail you some cards, and four things is we'll get you a power dialer this week. We'll get that squared away. Also, we will be starting the AI dialer hopefully today or tomorrow when I get it launched, and those are going to go right into the bin, and these will be connections with information, and they'll need a human to follow up on them. But that's a whole nother conversation. So what I need to do is batch dialer. Any other questions?
No, that's it.
All right. So let me I'm just literally going. Okay, so batch leads navigate to settings. Let me just do this real quick and see my profile. I guess settings is going to be one of these. Call settings. All right, I'll have to figure this out offline a little bit, but all right. So that's kind of a lot of what we do. At the end of the day, what Will is working on, what you're all working on. I don't want to just highlight Will or Nair or whatever, but the other big thing, guys, is reach out to us. Don't wait. I mean, and Will is great about this, Nair is great about this, but once a week, check in. We try to remember, Ryan and I try to remember, but once a week, check in and say, hey, this, or more than once a week, whenever you need it, 24/7. Like Nair texted me like during dinner last night, and I didn't love the fact that, I obviously everyone has personal lives. We get that. But you need me, text me, say, hey, listen, can we talk now? And I was like, no, I can't talk now. I can talk in an hour. Because whatever keeps you moving forward is what makes us all work. And so I will look into the batch dialer for batch leads, which obviously exists according to that instruction. I don't know if I took it offline. Maybe I did, but anyway. So we'll get a power dialer hooked up. And guys, the definition, and this is from Jake Arnold, who's a very, very big wholesaler or investor now. I don't think he wholesales anymore, but whatever. Jake doesn't like multi-line dialers because if it connects with four people, you can obviously only answer one. But going to a power dialer is totally fine. That's a totally, whatever. All right, so I guess that's pretty much it. Glenn knows it's kind of a quick bath, but your biggest thing, Glenn, is youtube.com/REI homepage. Where did my YouTube go? I guess it's gone. So a lot of stuff, and I won't say it's the most organized, but a lot of stuff is on my RAI homepage channel on YouTube, especially these live videos here. And so you can go back literally years on stuff and different topics and whatever. But Glenn, especially for you, for everybody, the one that Ryan and I just did, and I just put it in the group chat. For everybody, the one Ryan and I just did of the test calls and how they should sound. And we did 3 test calls. We did a, average question and answer conversation. We did one of a mildly reluctant seller who was, well, just go online. You can find something out and call me when you know something. And one of a seller that was just so effusive with, well, what condition is the kitchen in? Well, at the time we redid the kitchen, my grandmother's sister's book buddy was in the hospital, and you know how distracting that can be, but she really liked pink and purple. They're going to tell you this kind of crap, and just, control it. Don't let it go off the rails, but roll with it because you're building a relationship. But at a certain point, you got to guide the call. And realize when they're telling you the story, maybe not that particular story, how they got to the point of taking a cash offer is important. Why are they not? I mean, this could be a direct question. Hey, listen, I had this one couple years ago came in, and couple had money, not wealthy but comfortable. And I said to myself, I could list your property for 75, or I could buy it now for 40. And they took the 40. Well, we come to the other end of the rainbow. We're at the day of closing, and the guy sees that I sold the house for 85,000. And he's like, "Wow, I should have listened to you." I said, "Yeah, you should have." And I'm thinking that there's going to be a fight that he's going to try to not sell. And he made that clear that was not the case. But I said, "Sir, what actually got you to that point?" Because he never really tipped his hand. They just said, "We'll take the 50." He's like, "It was the first fight my wife and I had in 45 years was about this stupid house, and I wasn't going to let that be the reason we got in a fight." So,
Makes sense.
It's like, but knowing where they're coming from, because don't be afraid. Okay, so real quick, because I want to cover this again, because this is kind of where I started, is Nair kind of broke without knowing protocol with this guy on the land, the Texas land guy. I think it was Texas, whatever. Because he told the guy the max allowable offer, which leaves us no room to wholesale. Now the guy has 90,000 in his head instead of we would have put him at 80. But the other thing that he broke was he didn't come to me and Ryan and discuss the research before he went to the guy. Well, the reason we want to do that is, first of all, we're the ones responsible. We're the ones leaving on the hook. But second of all, we want to make sure we moderate that conversation because A, you don't want to give the guy the top offer because we need to sell it for that. And B, once we know his motivation, we can circle back. And C, when we call him back, I have a very specific spiel. My spiel is the same with everybody. Hi, I'm Steve. I'm a licensed PA broker, yada, yada. We're the only ones allowed in Pennsylvania to wholesale property. I skipped the part of it's only 1 through 4 units, but whatever. I'm an investor. I give them a whole credibility kit in like 30 seconds. I own real estate, whatever. And then I say, listen, just want to be clear. It is very likely if you list this with us as a realtor or you list this with a local realtor, I don't draw it out this much, but something to the effect of you're giving up money for speed. Need you to know that, if you're looking for the top dollar, we have a listing conversation. If you're looking for the top speed, we have a wholesale conversation. Because first of all, it's Article 1, client's best interest crap. It's, being honest. But second of all, you don't want to go through a whole thing and have them say, well, my realtor says I could get 250 for it. I thought you guys would pay me at least that. Well, no, sir, and we have to make money. So we make sure we include that in the conversation and say, listen, if you're choosing cash offer, great. Yeah. Anyway. All right, so that's pretty much all we got. I'll get on Bash Leads and we'll track down your business cards, text me your mailing address, and I'll get you some temporary ones, and we'll go from there.
Okay. All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right.